There is a power that exists beyond anything this world can offer, an invincible force, an anchor in a storm, and it is this, peace, that surpasses all understanding. To live a life untouched by anger, unshaken by the provocations of others, is not only possible, it is your inheritance, your right. I stand before you today to reveal the secret. True inner peace is not something that is dictated by the external world, but rather something that flows from within. The world around us is filled with chaos, unpredictability, and countless circumstances that challenge our composure. Every day brings new stresses, pressures, and events that can trigger irritation, anger, or despair. However, the person who has discovered the secret to peace is not swayed by these external forces. They remain steady and calm, grounded in an inner sanctuary that is unshaken by life's storms. This inner peace is not dependent on whether life is going well or whether things are falling apart. It is a steady force, a quiet strength that can weather any storm. This peace comes from a deep internal foundation that cannot be touched by the whims of the world. It is not based on circumstances or outcomes. The moment we place our peace in the hands of the world, expecting others to treat us a certain way, or waiting for life's conditions to meet our expectations, we set ourselves up for turmoil. But true peace, the kind that is unshakable, comes from within, and is nourished by an unwavering trust that there is a greater purpose behind everything that happens. No matter how much the world tries to knock us down, our peace remains intact when we know, deep in our hearts, that it does not depend on the shifting tides of life. When we anchor ourselves in this inner peace, we stop reacting impulsively to the challenges that come our way. Rather than responding with anger, frustration, or resentment, we find ourselves able to pause, breathe, and choose a response that is calm and thoughtful. We stop being slaves to our emotions and instead we become the masters of them. The inner peace that we cultivate allows us to view situations with a clear, unclouded perspective. This is where true freedom lies. Freedom from the tyranny of our emotional reactions and the endless cycle of trying to control things outside of us. One of the greatest gifts of inner peace is the ability to remain unshaken even when others around us are losing control. People may lash out, criticize, or behave in ways that would normally upset us, but when we are anchored in our inner peace, these external actions no longer have power over us. We no longer take offense at the words or actions of others. Instead of feeling anger or resentment, we respond with understanding, compassion, and patience. We recognize that the actions of others often reflect their own struggles, their own pain, and that their behavior is not a reflection of us, but of them. And with that understanding, we find ourselves able to let go of any offense and move forward in peace. This inner peace also empowers us to navigate life's inevitable challenges without losing our sense of self. Life will always bring difficult times. There will be losses, setbacks, disappointments, and moments of great struggle. But when we have cultivated a deep, unshakable peace within, these challenges no longer define us. We can face hardship with grace, knowing that while the storm may rage around us, it does not have to rage within us. The peace that resides inside us becomes our refuge and our strength. It is from this peace that we find the clarity, courage, and resilience to face any trial that comes our way, no matter how intense or overwhelming. Self-control over emotions. Self-control over emotions is one of the most powerful attributes a person can develop in their journey toward peace. Emotions by nature are quick and tense and often arise in response to external stimuli. They are not inherently bad, but when left unchecked, emotions can control us, dictate our actions, and lead us down paths of regret or destruction. The person who has mastered self-control over their emotions has learned not to be a slave to their feelings, but to be their own master. Instead of acting out of impulse, they pause, reflect, and choose their response thoughtfully. This mastery is not about suppressing emotions or pretending they do not exist. It is about understanding them, harnessing them, and using them to live with greater clarity, purpose, and peace. The first step in gaining control over our emotions is to recognize that emotions are signals, not mandates. Emotions are natural reactions to the world around us, but they are not commands that we must obey. When anger, frustration, or sadness arises, it is important to stop and ask, what is this emotion telling me? What is the deeper message here? Rather than reacting immediately, the person who has developed emotional control takes a step back. They create space between the stimulus, the event or action that triggered the emotion, and the response, the way they choose to act or feel. This gap allows them to process their emotions, examine their thoughts, and understand why they feel the way they do before responding. In the heat of the moment, it can feel nearly impossible to pause. Emotions can rise so quickly and strongly that they seem to take over our bodies and minds. But those who have cultivated self-control know the power of a pause. They have trained themselves to take a breath, close their eyes for a moment, or simply step away from the situation. This moment of stillness is critical because it interrupts the automatic impulsive reactions that typically follow emotional triggers. It is in this moment of pause that clarity arises. Instead of blurting out harsh words or acting out of frustration, they allow themselves to reflect on the bigger picture. What is truly at stake? What is the best response in this situation? With practice, this ability to pause becomes second nature, and the person can stay calm and collected even when emotions are running high. Self-control over emotions also means learning to be patient with oneself. It's unrealistic to expect that we will never feel anger, frustration, or hurt. These emotions are part of being human. However, what sets those with mastery over their emotions apart is their ability to respond to these emotions with wisdom and patience. They recognize that emotions do not define them, their actions do. In moments of anger, for instance, instead of lashing out or allowing the anger to control their actions, they respond with measured words, or even silence, allowing the intensity of the emotion to dissipate. This takes practice, and it often requires forgiving oneself for the times when emotions have gotten the better of us. Self-control is not about perfection, it is about progress and commitment to growth. Ultimately, mastering emotional self-control leads to a life of greater peace and freedom. When we are no longer slaves to our emotions, we are free to respond to life's challenges with grace and wisdom. We become less reactive and more reflective. We realize that nothing external has the power to throw us off balance unless we give it permission. The person who never gets angry or bothered by others has learned to create a peaceful, balanced emotional landscape within themselves. They have cultivated the ability to respond with calmness and clarity, no matter what the world throws at them. This mastery of self-control over emotions does not make life devoid of feeling, but it ensures that we are always in control of how we navigate and express those feelings. The result is a life of unshakable peace, where emotions are allies, not adversaries. Unwavering trust in a higher purpose. To live with unwavering trust in a higher purpose is to acknowledge that life is not a series of random events, but rather part of a larger divine plan that we may not always understand. It is the belief that everything that happens, whether seemingly good or bad, is ultimately shaping us for a greater destiny. When we embrace this trust, we are able to let go of the need to control every situation, every outcome, and every relationship. This trust in a higher purpose provides us with a foundation that is immovable in the face of adversity. No matter what comes our way, we know that it is leading us somewhere significant, even if we can't see the full picture yet. This belief frees us from the emotional burden of reacting to every challenge with frustration, confusion, or anger because we understand that every experience, no matter how difficult, is a necessary part of the unfolding journey. The person who trusts in a higher purpose does not see setbacks or hardships as obstacles, but rather as opportunities for growth and learning. While it is natural for the human heart to struggle in moments of difficulty, the one who holds unwavering trust in a greater plan sees these challenges as the refining process that sharpens their character and strengthens their faith. They believe that every challenge is tailored to help them evolve into the person they are meant to become. Whether it's a personal loss, a job setback, or a relationship challenge, They see these experiences not as signs of defeat, but as lessons designed for their ultimate good. With this perspective, they are able to navigate life's difficulties with resilience, knowing that even in the darkest moments there is a greater purpose unfolding beyond their comprehension. This trust in a higher purpose eliminates the need for us to control outcomes. It removes the anxiety and stress that comes from constantly trying to orchestrate every detail of our lives. When we trust that there is a divine hand at work, we understand that we are not alone in our journey. The weight of trying to figure everything out or fix every situation is lifted because we surrender the outcome to the greater plan. It is a trust that allows us to act with wisdom and courage, knowing that we do not have to have all the answers right now. This unwavering faith in the bigger picture allows us to move through life with calm assurance, even when we cannot see the path ahead. We trust that every step we take is being guided by a force far greater than ourselves, and we are exactly where we need to be, even if it doesn't feel that way in the moment. Moreover, this trust in a higher purpose allows us to approach people and situations with patience and compassion. When we trust that everyone, including ourselves, is part of a divine plan, we stop taking things personally. We no longer react emotionally to people's words, actions, or behaviors because we understand that they too are on their own journey, shaped by their own experiences and lessons. We can choose to respond with empathy and kindness rather than defensiveness or anger. Our unwavering trust in the larger purpose helps us see beyond the immediate hurt or frustration caused by others and instead recognize the bigger picture. We understand that every person we encounter, whether they challenge or uplift us, is contributing to the fulfillment of a greater design, and our role is to approach them with understanding, love, and grace. Finally, living with unwavering trust in a higher purpose brings a profound sense of peace. We no longer feel that we must fight against the current of life or force things to happen according to our own will. Instead, we learn to flow with life, knowing that there is a plan that transcends our understanding. This peace comes from the release of control and the acceptance that we are part of something far greater than ourselves. The person who trusts in this higher purpose has no need for anger or resentment when things don't go their way, because they know that even in their disappointment, there is something far more significant at work. This trust makes every challenge bearable, every setback a stepping stone, and every victory a testament to the power of the divine plan. With unwavering trust in a higher purpose, life becomes an adventure of discovery, where each moment, no matter how small or seemingly insignificant, is part of a beautiful unfolding story. Forgiveness as a way of life. Forgiveness is not merely a one-time act but a way of life. A daily, conscious decision to let go of offense, resentment, and bitterness. Those who embody forgiveness in their daily actions have learned the profound truth that holding on to anger and hurt only weighs down the soul. It is like carrying a heavy burden that drains one's energy, peace, and joy. For them, forgiveness is a lifestyle, not an isolated event triggered by a specific incident. It becomes a practice that frees them from emotional baggage, helping them move forward with lightness and clarity. By choosing to forgive regularly, they maintain a state of emotional well-being that allows them to live without the unnecessary burden of unresolved pain. To live with forgiveness means to actively let go of past grievances and not allow them to define the present. Each time someone wrongs them, they are quick to release the offense, recognizing that holding on to it serves no purpose other than to keep them trapped in a cycle of anger and negativity. Forgiveness becomes their shield against the corrosive effects of resentment. They understand that the longer they hold on to grudges, the more those grudges poison their hearts, cloud their minds, and hinder their growth. Letting go of offenses is not about excusing the wrong or pretending it never happened. It is about releasing the power that the offense holds over them, allowing them to live in peace and freedom. A person who embraces forgiveness does not carry the emotional scars of the past with them. They have learned that forgiveness is not an act of weakness but an act of strength and courage. Forgiving others is not about letting them off the hook for their actions. It is about choosing to break free from the chains of resentment. It is a conscious decision to stop being emotionally controlled by another person's actions. When we forgive, we no longer allow someone else's behavior to dictate how we feel or how we respond. Instead, we reclaim our emotional freedom and regain our peace of mind, knowing that we are no longer bound by the wrongs done to us. Forgiveness, when practiced consistently, transforms relationships. Those who forgive easily foster an environment of trust, openness, and compassion. When we forgive, we extend grace not only to the person who wronged us, but also to ourselves. We recognize that we too are imperfect and that we too have needed forgiveness in the past. By embracing forgiveness as a way of life, we create a space where understanding and empathy can flourish. We realize that the act of forgiving others is not about allowing them to hurt us again, but about creating an atmosphere where healing can occur. We allow the past to be the past so that both parties can move forward with greater understanding and unity. One of the most profound aspects of forgiveness is that it is a gift to ourselves as much as it is to others. Holding on to anger and resentment affects us physically, emotionally, and spiritually. It creates tension in the body, clouds the mind with negative thoughts, and drains our energy. In contrast, forgiveness brings healing and wholeness. When we forgive, we let go of the burden of carrying negative emotions and open ourselves to a greater sense of peace and joy. Forgiveness restores our inner balance, helping us to reclaim our vitality and embrace life with renewed vigor. It is as if the weight of the world has been lifted from our shoulders, allowing us to walk through life with a lighter heart and a clearer mind. Another important aspect of forgiveness is that it enables us to grow beyond our wounds. Every offense, every injury, and every hurt presents an opportunity for spiritual and emotional growth. By choosing forgiveness, we transform our pain into wisdom and our suffering into strength. The person who forgives becomes stronger with each act of forgiveness because they are not letting their past define them. Instead, they are taking control of their future by choosing to rise above their pain. They understand that life's challenges are not meant to break them but to build them, and forgiveness is the tool that helps them rebuild their emotional and spiritual resilience. In the end, living with forgiveness as a way of life is not about denying the reality of hurt or pretending that wrongs didn't happen. It is about acknowledging the pain, learning from it, and choosing to move forward without letting it hold us back. It is a conscious decision to release the hold that anger, resentment, and bitterness have on our hearts and to step into a life of peace, compassion, and emotional freedom. The person who embraces forgiveness becomes free from the weight of the past, free from the shackles of resentment, and free to live fully and joyfully in the present. Forgiveness transforms the soul, lightens the heart, and opens the door to a future filled with hope, love, and growth.